next, we would like to invite up our ABW finalists. This award, so the ABW Award, Analytics for Better World Award, is presented annually to individuals or organizations in the Netherlands working at universities, NGOs, governments, and commercial companies that has applied analytics with a high social or societal impact that contributes to the realization of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. First, we will hear from Meike Reusken from Tilburg University. So I'd like to now invite you up onto the stage. Yeah, there she is. And my hair is going to give you a mic. Oh, this is the beautiful graphic that we spent many hours creating that you didn't get to see. So you take a second to appreciate it. And I'm going to hand you the clicker. There you go.
So, hi everyone. Can you hear me? Like this? I can shout a little louder as well. That's fine too. So, thank you for this invitation here. I'm very glad to be here today at this amazing conference. And I've been given 5 minutes of time to dive about my research. So this one paper that I want to summarize in these 5 minutes is a paper that I wrote together with Frans Kruijsen and Henk. It has been published in the International Journal of Production Economics. And in this paper, we introduce an optimization model for a food bank supply chain. And this optimization model is inspired by a question that was asked by the food banks in the Netherlands. Because during COVID-19 times, they experienced that there were many uncertainties. I think everyone faced that, but they were expecting a large increase in people needing food assistance in the Netherlands. And an immediate result of that would be problems in their supply chain, that they wouldn't be able to facilitate this increase. And yeah, of course, they wanted to do something about that. However, luckily, during that time, they also received a little bit more monetary donations, so there was budget available to tackle these issues. And that's where we came in. Before I talk about this optimization model, a little bit about the supply chain. Typically, there are 3 layers in the food bank supply chain, with the upper layer being the national organization of food banks. They typically facilitate certain services or coordinations for all organizations in the supply chain. In the middle layer here, there are food bank depots. They redistribute food from big donors to like the regions and to the food agencies. So in the middle layer, the food depots in the Netherlands, we have 10 of those. And in the lower layer, there are 173 food agencies in the Netherlands. And they really like reach out to people facing food insecurity. So for this organization, we introduced an optimization model with an objective to be able to reach as many people as possible. So if there's an increase of people needing food assistance, that you can really facilitate that. And it's an optimization model at the strategic level to make strategic decisions regarding, for example, transport capacity, storage capacity, and the supply of donations. The latter one means that there's been given, for example, a budget to increase acquisitions, to like get more donations, for example. So a few unique things about this optimization model is indeed the objective function to maximize the people that can be helped with the food supply chain. And one that I like to highlight here is number 4, and that is that the people needing food assistance is still uncertain. So we have a certain growth scenario that we take into consideration. One wrapping up slide. So this paper describes an optimization model for the food bank supply chain. We look into investments for storage, transport, and donations. And we hope to reach out to the most people in the Netherlands. But it is not only this development that we did in this paper, because we also describe in this paper how we transitioned these results into meaningful insights for the food banks. we were actively involved not only throughout the development of this optimization model, but also after we developed it. And that made it possible to have some really tangible solutions that were really used in practice. For example, we organized certain sessions in which, based on these results, food banks were better able to collaborate. To give a small example, for example, that we made an investment in a truck for two food banks that were very closely located to one another. So really the investments were made in response to the results. And also these implementation strategies are described in this paper. And that's where I like to wrap up. Thank you.
We have time for one question. Anyone has any question? Yes.
Was it a simulation model? Was it a mathematical model simulated in time, or was it?
No, it was no time component. It was just like an optimization model with an objective and constraints.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, next up I'd like to, Valentijn, if you can get a mic from my hair. I'd like to invite up Valentijn from Tilburg University.
Yes, can you hear me? Yeah, okay, thank you for this introduction, and thank you indeed for this introduction of this award here. So what I will tell you a little bit about is my dissertation. So it consists of several projects and there are many people and organizations involved. So before that, just a few moments to appreciate that. So the title of my dissertation is Analytics for Humanitarian Networks in Uncertain and Data Scarce Environments. My supervisors are Dick den Hertog, Hein Fleur, and Joris Wagenaar. Wrote it at the Zero Hunger Lab at Tilburg University. And as I mentioned, well, did several projects together with organizations, which made it possible to create impact in this way. I want to highlight these for the UNHRD group, PEMPEM, the World Bank, and 510. So all of these organizations were involved. Okay, so I will tell you a little bit about my PhD research. And if you're interested, of course, tomorrow is my PhD defense, so you're all invited to this, but I'll come back to it later on. So just as a starter, it's not clearly visible, but just to mention that which sustainable development goals are most important in my dissertation. For instance, zero hunger or access to clean drinking water, but also infrastructure, slightly highlighted here, but yeah. So the title, as is in the title, the humanitarian network. What are these humanitarian networks? So in this dissertation, we say these are points or nodes that are there to facilitate the distribution of aid or resources to increase the well-being of the local population. And you can think about, for instance, a network of hospitals or medical facilities. You want to have a good network that people have, or the most amount of people have access to a medical facility within a certain distance. But this could also be drinking water. You want people to have access to drinking water without having to travel for many hours. But there could also be a road network. We want to have an accurate digital representation of the road network such that people that live in the area can go from A to B efficiently and know where to go. And well, in my dissertation, I looked at how to strategically optimize such networks. So we want to optimize these humanitarian networks, whether it's a road network, whether it's a network of water wells, for instance. And how to strategically organize, we already come to analytics. So, well, the scientific process of transforming data, and I want to emphasize here that it's data, into insight for making better decisions. So as we heard during the panel, data can be a real challenge. We have to deal with data quality, data uncertainty, and all these aspects. These are, well, what forms the role of my dissertation. So how to create impact with these two, with this process? We have to deal with this data uncertainty. So oftentimes we are not sure about the quality of the data, but also about data scarcity. So often in a humanitarian setting, we do not have enough data, or we do not have an abundance of data that we can use for our analysis. Maybe it's outdated, as we heard, or just there's not enough available. So these are the two challenges, but although these challenges exist, we can still apply analytics, we can still develop innovative solutions that, well, can help to optimize decisions based on this data, although it's scarce and uncertain. And this is actually my dissertation, the topic of my dissertation. And what I will do next, I have one slide here with the 4 different projects. I will give you a very brief overview. So in the top left, we looked together with the UNHRD about where to establish humanitarian response depots. So NGOs can store their or pre-position their stuff in these depots. And then when a disaster happens, they can use these to respond more swiftly to a disaster in a specific location. We looked at optimizing the number and location of these depots while we are uncertain about where a disaster might happen in the future. Then in the top right, we looked at enhancing the digital road networks in more rural developing regions where typically we do not have the digital road network all available. So we enhance it with GPS trajectory data, new technologies. In the bottom left, together with PEM, we try to predict the travel time of such road networks, so even more enhancing these road networks. And in the bottom right, together with 510, we worked on trying to find out what is the optimal strategy of where to locate water points or water wells, trying to maximize the amount of people that is within a certain vicinity or within the vicinity of clean drinking water. Yeah, so that's just a brief overview of the projects. Thank you for listening. Thanks for all the organizations that are involved in this process. And yeah, once again, if you want to know more, tomorrow at Tilburg University in the auditorium, you're more than welcome to come listen. Thanks.
Does anyone have a question? All right, no. Then I'd like to next invite up Melissa Koenen, also from Tilburg University.
Can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Melissa Koenen. I'm a PhD researcher at the Zero Hunger Lab at Tilburg University. And I'm very glad that I'm able to tell you today about the research and work that I've been doing together with the World Food Programme. So the World Food Programme is world's largest humanitarian organization, and they often question themselves, is a nutritious diet always affordable in a certain region? And the answer to that, unfortunately, is not always yes. For example, for 2019, they have estimated that in Ethiopia, around 74% of households cannot afford a nutritious diet. And you might wonder, how do they make these kind of estimations, right? Well, they do so using dietary optimization. And the underlying core model is a linear programming model that focuses on the cost of a diet such that enough nutrients are provided. They also have some additional requirements such that the diet is also more palatable and more culturally appropriate. But in order to run this dietary optimization model, they first gather data by doing market analysis and by having a sort of database where they store nutritional information of food items. They collect this, put this within the dietary optimization model, and they obtain the optimal diet. And it is very nice because this provides a lower bound on the cost of nutritious meals. And they have been using these type of analyses already since 2016. Already over 40 countries have been investigated. And what they do is they provide those type of analyses to local governments. And these analyses really help to adjust and change local policies regarding food and nutrition security. But the thing is, the World Food Programme wanted to expand their current analyses. They wanted to do more, and they also wanted to do that in a with a very dedicated software. So at the start of 2020, just a couple of months after my PhD had begun, a consortium was formed with the World Food Programme, the Zero Hunger Lab, Johns Hopkins University, and Capgemini, where we really focused on a dedicated tool, an online tool for both the World Food Programme, but also for all the governments that they work with. And within this tool, they want to take the environmental impact of diets as well as local preferences better into account. So what we worked on during, with my research is we looked at a multi-objective optimization model that is able to capture all the different objectives that the World Food Programme deems important. And this can be really interesting for an analyst because they focus, for example, on both the cost, but also the carbon footprint and the adherence to the current dietary pattern. And for an analyst, this can be really helpful because they can see different trade-offs between different objectives. But we've not only been working on research. We have also been working together with the other parties on making this online tool where they can input the files, run the analysis, and gather the statistics that they deem relevant. And the very nice thing is that this new tool has already been used for both Colombia and Cambodia. That for the current year, already 5 new analyses have been planned. And the last thing, which makes me really happy, is that this multi-objective research is currently being implemented within this tool so that they can really make use of this new research. And if you want to know more, well, you can either scan the QR code, but of course, I'm also here for the drinks. So thank you.
Did anyone have any questions? Oh, sorry, we have one online question.
So we are making use actually of Pulp. Pulp is a free online library which you can use in Python. Because the thing is that for WFP, it's sometimes easier, or also I think for other large organizations, that can be difficult to get licenses with other companies. So we are using a free online solver package. And what we are doing in there is linear optimization.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melissa. And I'd like to also thank the other finalists as well for their presentations. We really gave them a tight time limit of 5 minutes, but they did a great job sticking to that. So thank you. And we will have the award ceremony later today presented by KHMW. They'll be giving out the awards to their finalists. Next, we're going to hear from Henk de Jong. Right. So I'd like to invite up Henk de Jong, who is presenting the Analytics for a Better World Award on behalf of the Royal Dutch Society of Science. Henk de Jong is a board member of KHMW and the co-founder of Audacious Goals. I'd also like to now ask our recipients to please come up to the stage as well.
Sure, because you already presented your research in a very nice way. And Valentijn is doing a rehearsal tomorrow as well, so that's all good. So our society is established in 1752. At that time, there was no big data yet, so no AI, no anything that you are doing right now, but it's a long time ago. We had many Nobel Prize winners in our society centuries ago, so you're in a tradition. We award prizes from high school, master thesis, PhD thesis, and also lifetime achievement awards. So you can, in 30 years from now, you can come back to the same prizes. I think, Melissa, you did a great job in your research and you won the first prize. And I think you have a lot to offer in the future as well. And if you see those people who are advanced in their careers and with the same theme, so congratulations, you're the first prize winner. I learned that you have to give away the prize again to a good girl. So thank you for doing your research.
Thank you.
Good luck. Second prize is also, I think, from Meike, and you did a great job as well. We think you will have large impact for the voedselbanken. Thank you for doing your research, and also for you, a nice prize. And the Audacious is completely written here, and I think you will recognize your research. And Valentijn, we already wrote another thing on the envelope. That's for after tomorrow. It's a very old-fashioned way for people with a PhD. Thank you for your research as well. I think we had some time now available for the official awards.
Yes. So third place on behalf of Valentijn. So here's your placard. And Valentijn has requested that the donation of 1,000 euros be given to the organization UNICEF on his behalf. Meike? I hope I'm saying that right. No.
Meike?
Say it for me.
Yeah.
Meike has received second place, and a donation of 2,000 euros will be awarded to the Dutch Food Bank on her behalf. And first place goes to Melissa. Melissa has requested that the donation of 3,000 euros be donated to the UN World Food Program on her behalf.
Super.
You guys can